What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today. And today, we are going to have a look at Gotham Knights. Now, it did not play very nice on the Steam Deck. I know the Steam Deck isn't the most powerful little machine, but I couldn't even get a solid 30 FPS in that. So, makes me wonder if I'm going to even be able to get a solid 60 on this no matter what, even at 1080p. I mean, I guess we'll see. And I wasn't even able to test out ray tracing on it. On the Steam Deck, thank God. That probably would have made it get like 10 FPS or less. We were already dropping down into the low teens at certain points when there were fire and everything indoors. This game either sucks at optimization or all of my stuff besides my 4090 is just so slow it can't game anymore. And I have a feeling it's more of the optimization. That and the Plague's Tale. Didn't even try that on the Steam Deck. No, that won't be a good experience. Again, it'll be just like this one. Maybe get 30 to 35 FPS here and there, but with lots of drops under 30, guaranteed. But anyway, to start about the Steam Deck, why don't we get this guy hooked up to the capture card and see how it does. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. So let's go do just that.
So let's get into the game here on the Asus G15 Advantage. Now make sure you're on the right GPU up there. Mine was already defaulted to that, but if you get really bad performance, just make sure that that is selected, because it's probably on the damn APU or something. Far Cry loved to do that, and there were a couple other games that loved to do that too, that I had to force to use the 6800M. Anyway though, we're starting off on low, as you saw, so let's get into the game and see how the Asus G15 Advantage handles it. Well, alright, well, at least indoors, we're getting like 140 FPS, so that's already a huge improvement compared to the Steam Deck, but this thing is several levels above that thing, let's be honest. It's not like it's a bad device, but this thing is much more powerful. And you could buy like 2 or 3 Steam Decks for the price of this laptop, so depending on which model you go with, that is.
Once we can get at the data, we can figure out what our next move is.
Alright, so it looks like it's cutscene time real quick.
Out. I'm not gonna sit and wait for whatever this shit is.
We're waiting for intel, Jason. Once we have it, then we'll go.
Move. I'm gonna solve this case my way.
Stop it! He wanted us to work this together.
Whatever.
Wow, I almost called Robin
It's making
Bat
this
Boy.
harder than it has to
I was gonna say, yeah, listen to Bat Boy, but no, listen to Robin.
I guess, since we're waiting anyway, we might as well take another look at what Bruce had on Langstrom.
Yeah, it seems like these are limited to 60 no matter what.
That must have been the secondary breaker. The primary
Still
went out
lots of
months
frame
ago. I thought
time,
the backup would hold.
But I think that's just because I'm recording right now. That always seems to make the frame time graph a little bit juddery. Another reason why I like doing the camera recorded stuff
that
too.
should hold for a while.
Hey, it's Alfred. Man, Alfred makes the frickin' frames drop hard. It went all the way down to 48.
I'll always be here when you need me, Master Richard. When any of you need me.
I'm glad you're here.
As am I, Master Tim. This place does need work.
It does. It's a pigsty.
Damn it.
But better
We've
than
got
nothing.
activity all over the city.
Sweet. Looks like my plan wins.
Oh yeah, it does.
Hold up. We still need the intel. And Alfred can't exactly set
But
this place
if
up
they're just
alone.
gonna keep on talking and talking,
Indeed,
why don't
Miss
we go ahead and move on to the next
have a
graphics
list
setting?
of-
All right. Now let's move on to medium. But first, we'll scroll through the settings here. And of course, we'll do ray tracing and all of that stuff towards the end, as well as upscaling. Keep any of this thing off now that we know that it doesn't change with the quality preset. And we'll turn it on for high, I think. Anyway, to the game. Well, here we are outside with the G15 Advantage here on medium. And it seems to be having the same problem as the Steam Deck, where it's just not fully cranking out the megahertz. So, thus giving us not the best FPS. I'm surprised we're even getting close to 60. Yeah, 40s is more as what I was expecting. Ooh, we can attack some
Hurry
people.
up, I'm running out of paper. I gotta see what that was. Hey,
Oh.
Red Hood, I could use a fight.
Ow, I got shot by a stray bullet. So I'm just gonna keep beating the shit out of this level 3 guy. Yeah, so you're level 1, that's why you need a gun. But yeah, not great FPS at all. Hopefully they come out with a update, but what's weird is both of the other computers did update, but they had a lot of other games, the desktops, I mean, updated, but they had so many other games that updated, I didn't happen to notice if this came updated because it was doing so much better. And I know they're more powerful than the laptop, but it's not like this thing's a slouch. It should be able to play a game like this at 60. Maybe not with ray tracing on, but probably all the way up to like at least the highest on 1080p anyway. 1080p is the whole point I got this thing. I figured I could get super high FPS in first-person shooters when I take it to friends' houses and on trips and all that good junk, and then, you know, still be able to get decent FPS in single-player games, seeing as though it's only a 1080p screen when you crank the settings up a little. Figured it'd be a kind of best of both worlds kind of thing, because with a 15-inch screen, you're not going to really notice that much of a difference between 1440p and 1080p. Sure, you'll notice if you've got the two things like straight up next to each other and you just sit there and you pixel peep, but if you just play the games, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. And that's not a dog on the people that have the 1440p version. It definitely does help. It is more clear. It's just not the end of the world if you don't have that. That's all. Now it's time to do some high. So of course we're going to go through all of the settings just to show you what all of those are. And then we'll do ray tracing and upscaling and all of that after we're done just going through the base settings. And I did turn on FXAA, even though I don't like it very much. I figure that'll be a good one for high. And there we go. That's the bottom, so let's get into the game, shall we? The game is now on high, so let's just run around a little bit here. Yeah, we're still dropping down the frames about the same as we were before. But as you guys can see, we're not getting much megahertz. And this is all on the capture computer, so this should not affect FPS at all. And if anything, if I was recording with the ones that were, it would probably crank the GPU up a little bit, because I'm pretty sure it uses the GPU to record, or in code. Because that's what I chose in OBS anyway. But for all I know, I'm not even using the best setting. There was a couple settings in there. I just picked the one that was AMD, and there was like 2 that were. So I just picked the one I thought would work better, but I don't really know if it does or not, you know? I should probably fuck with that sometime. You know, just make a bunch of test videos, open them up on the 4K TV and just see which ones look the best. Yep, and I always check on my phone, my tablet, and my TVs to make sure all my videos look alright on all of those, not just my computers. That's why I always go the extra mile. And that's why, if anyone's wondering, that's why the freaking GUI is so freaking giant. The one I wished I could get a little bigger is the Steam Deck, but I just don't know how to do that yet. I should probably research and just do that. I know people can see it if they try really hard on PCs and maybe on tablets, but and TVs, but on phones, I doubt people can really see much of the FPS or any of the info on the Steam Deck videos anyway. And then I have to remember, I have really, really good vision, so I mean, just because I can read it doesn't mean everyone can. Which is why I want to enlarge it a little, but hey, I'll go do some research on it. Anyway, though, why don't we go ahead and move on? Well, now we're moving on to highest graphics presets, so let's just scroll on down here. And I turn motion blur on even though I don't like it, and all the rest of the stuff on. I noticed TAA had a Gen 5. I don't know if I could select that in the Steam Deck or if I just went over it, but I doubt it matters that awful much. But anyway, just thought I'd mention it. But now to the game. Well, now let's get a little bit of some highest gameplay in now, and we're dropping all the way down in the 40s already, just like on the city streets running around, not even swinging around on the grappling hook.
That's the big guy.
Doesn't really drop that awful much. A little bit here and there, yeah, 40. There we go. That's more of what I was expecting. Down into the 30s here and there. Damn. Alright, let's just keep running around the city. If I happen to find some crime, I'll try to fight it. As long as it's not running into a building. I don't really want to go into buildings and give us all false hope at how the thing runs. I want to try to stay outside for the most part.
Could that be Red Hood?
It could, and it would.
Hey,
And yes, it is.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
It's time to welcome this weed into my lungs.
Could that be Red Hood?
So you know, one thing I'm definitely wondering as I run around, there's not very many people, nor much traffic or anything. It's a pretty empty city. Like, people dogged on Cyberpunk for not having much like NPCs or anything at first, but arguably this is honestly worse. Like, I'm not a big city goer, but anytime I go into Ann Arbor, no matter what time it is, there's always people out on the streets, and that's not even the biggest city. Now we're going to try out some ray tracing, because it's not grayed out on the Asus G15 Advantage like it is on the Steam Deck. So there it is on, and let's just leave everything else maxed out, I guess, because we were getting, it doesn't seem to matter what I do with the settings in this game. It always stay around anywhere from 40 to 50s. But to the game. Well, now let's get a little ray tracing in, and it definitely incorporates some pretty weird frame time spikes, as you can see. I know normally if I record with OBS, that's kind of what it looks like, but it's never that bad. And we're still on the capture computer, so that shouldn't be affecting it at all. So I don't know what's going on. I know ray tracing is not great, though, so it's probably just something to do with ray tracing not being great on AMD. But we'll see once we get to the NVIDIA PCs, because we're still going to do the desktops too. It might do the same thing. Maybe ray tracing just sucks in this game. To be perfectly honest, I can't really tell a huge difference. I'm probably looking for it pretty hard right here. Do you guys see a huge difference from not having ray tracing on? Am I just being blind? Because I can usually tell a pretty big difference, like in Guardians of the Galaxy or Cyberpunk. I could notice a pretty big difference. Now, games like Far Cry 6, not so much. Maybe it's kind of like that, where if you really, really, really look in certain areas, you can probably tell. But I can't really tell as they're moving around, getting 40 FPS, zip-lining around the city. But that's kind of what you do in this game. You zip-line around the city, so if you can't notice it, why have it on, right? So I might not even ever use it, but I'll wait until I get to the NVIDIA computers, because they're hooked up to much bigger monitors. Now it's time to do some FSR. So let's scroll down and look. We're going to do, it's FSR 2, by the way, and we're going to start off with quality. And we'll turn ray tracing back off, because that was just making some weird stutters and whatnot. I wouldn't like that. I don't think anybody would want to play with that on in its current state. Besides that, though, we'll leave everything else on highest. Or on. But now, back to the game. Now we got FSR on. And it's on quality to start with, so let's just zip line around the city again. To be perfectly honest, it doesn't seem to really be helping very much, but I think that's mostly just because the GPU is not clocking up. Just like the Steam Deck. Now, the Steam Deck indoors was doing just fine, and when I stepped out on a railing and then went back in, it was still clocking high, but I noticed when I was just in the city like this, it was sitting around 600 to 800, maybe 900 hertz, and I think it can go up to 1500 or 1400 megahertz. And it's not like it was getting up into the 90s or anything like that. It was chilling in the 80s, kind of like what this thing does. 70s, 80s. But yeah, as you can see, we're getting such low clocks. It's at 72 on the GPU. I'm not using a cooling pad or anything like that. And the CPU is only at 84 right now. So I will admit, it's staying quiet. It's still like screaming like a son of a bitch as it sits here, but...
Why is he here?
I mean, it is sitting on top of my secondary computer right now, but I really don't think that thing would cool it down this much, you know. I feel like that would be kind of more of like, on to FSR balanced now. So again, we will scroll through the settings all the way to the bottom right there, as you can see, FSR 2 balanced, so that's a lot nicer, but we're only at 1080p. It doesn't really help that much at 1080p either, I don't think. Or at least not on this laptop anyway, from what I can tell. But anyway, let's go see how it looks. FSR balanced now, and definitely doesn't look nearly as bad as it did on the Steam Deck, so there's that, but it still didn't really help our FPS predicament much. So this might be playable for some, but this is not that great for me. Like, if I hadn't already played over 2 hours, I'd have probably requested a refund, but I know you guys wanted to see how this game runs on various things, so I figured I'd just keep it. Whatever, it was like 50 bucks or something like that, who cares? And maybe after they, like, what do you call it? Get a couple updates, maybe it'll be playable. And if so, I will obviously come back and we'll do a revision update. I've come back to games. I still have to do that for Elden Ring. See if that got any better. I've got that on the list though.
Is that one of those vigilantes?
It is one of those vigilantes. Vigilante up in here. Yeah, FSR seems to add a lot of frame times too. Like I said, we're still on the capture computer, so... Anyway though, why don't we move along? Now we're going to do FSR performance. So let's quickly go through these. As you can see right there, FSR performance. So we'll just scroll through the rest of these real fast. I'm leaving everything else the exact same as we had it. I don't want to invalidate the tests, but still, want to show you guys that there's no funny business to the game. FSR's on performance now, and it's definitely looking pretty bad, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to look. Like, this would already look like so bad with FSR 1.0. Don't get me wrong, I can still tell it's gotten really soft.
At least someone's willing to fight for us.
And if you look at the trees and whatnot, they look pretty fucked up too.
I hope they know.
But it is what it is. What do you expect when you put it to performance? I still am wondering what ultra performance will be like. That pretty much turned it into just Pixel City on the Steam Deck, but that's only a 720p screen, basically. Well, 16 by 10 version of 720p, really. I think it's 1280 by 800 to be exact. All right, let's just keep ziplining around. But yeah, still not great FPS though. That doesn't seem to be doing nothing for our megahertz or anything. I don't know if this is just an AMD problem or what, but if it would clock up, would get better FPS, I know it. Well, last up before we get to our camera gameplay is going to be FSR Ultra Performance. So let's just look right there. We got the Ultra Performance, as you can see. And everything else will remain exactly the same. So, with that said, let's get back into the game. Well, last up here we got FSR Ultra Performance. Alright, so he does have like a thing to blast air or something out, so he doesn't get injured. Hey, there's stuff. Alright, yeah. Ooh, almost got set on fire. Ha, you hit your own guy. What an idiot.
It was a party.
Come on, throw another one. Nope. Ooh. Huh? There we go. We'll just just finish them off that way.
Belfry here. Happy to report we're now fully operational. Before you head back, though...
Let me guess. You've got an errand.
Yep,
for
more
me to run.
errands, huh?
The hard drive from Langstrom's lab requires a biodecryption key.
Uh-oh. Biodecryption, you say?
That means it's on his body. I have to go to the GCPD morgue now, don't I?
Indeed.
Damn straight we do.
In Gotham
But
as
alright,
they are,
let's move on
it
to
should
camera
be
now,
quiet.
shall we?
Real quick, let me just show you the options. Went with some AMD FSR2 quality. No ray tracing or motion blur. The rest of the stuff's alright though, and we're just leaving it on highest because when I put it to lowest, it actually made me get less FPS, so doing it this way seems to get me the best FPS that I can manage so far. So now, let's get back into the game. Alright. Now we're in the actual game. And as you can see, we're still dropping under 60 all the time. So my fears came through. And just like on the Steam Deck, we're not utilizing or getting full utilization at all on the GPU. It's just sitting at like, I don't know, anywhere from 500 and like 900 hertz. And the Steam Deck usually goes up to like, I think 1500 or 1400 or something, and it was hanging out around the same. So maybe there's just some bug where it just doesn't let the GPU work very hard. Because I was watching some guy play this, I think his name was, oh god, what was his YouTube name? I'm so bad with this, I'm subscribed to him for a while. I think it was Some Ordinary Gamer. His name's Mi Mutahara. And he was playing this on a 4090, and yeah, he struggled to get 60 FPS too, no matter what. But I don't think he had, oh, what did I trigger? Oh, I went to where I was supposed to go without even trying. Look at that. Anyway, and he tried to get 60, and he couldn't. Even with a power system like that. So I think this game is just in needing of some performance utilization. What am I supposed to do over here? Is there a way in over here? Ah, there is a way in. Alright. Alright, so that guy does leave eventually. Alright, I was wondering. Alright, let's go in here now. I don't even know if I'm supposed to go in here, but I am. I think so. Alright, see, now look in the loading screens. Now we're getting up to like 1900, 2000 megahertz. What in the absolute shit? Getting like 190 FPS. This is what I was more like expecting to get in the game. But no, we get back into the game and it's like, nah. You get like 600, 800 megahertz, bro. So yeah, this game just needs like some updates and shit, I think. It definitely has some issues. Oh, nope, now we're getting up to the right shit. But now look at that, we're getting hundreds of FPS, just like we did at the beginning of the game. So yeah, there must be some bug with being out in the open world or something. Who knows? This game is wacky. Seems like it could be at least an amusing game, but so far from what I've seen, If I wasn't going to use the over the 2-hour limit, I'd get a refund on this already, to be honest. Because what it feels like to me is it feels like they wanted this to be an MMO or something, and then just scrapped that idea and just tossed the game out in its current state. Like, ah, fuck it. I don't know. That's just the way I feel. So we're going to the holding cells. Stupid cop. I was hiding behind a table. You can't see me. But I'm not gonna stay right there. There we go. Let's go up here then. What we got here?
Is that the bat signal?
It is. I thought so.
I wondered where that went. More of this past the bullpen.
Now would be a particularly bad time to be spotted.
Will you stop giving me shit? Bad enough I'm lighting it. James got me in her sight.
Where should I go? There's a camera right there.
No, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me anyway, so get on with it. Better not be someone messing with me.
Oh, shoot. Oh, well.
Guys need to lay off the caffeine.
You're still not getting away.
Ow, don't shoot me. No, I'm beating the shit out of your cop teammates. Alright, screw it.
They talk about Nightwing like he's the second Batman.
Oh, am I supposed to go up? Yes. There we go.
I guess even the dead need security.
Someone must have a key. The desk sergeant, perhaps.
But alright, why don't we go ahead and wrap this video on up now? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Gotham Knights, and it does not seem to play very good on the laptop either. Except for when you're indoors. When you're outdoors, it seems like the GPU doesn't clock up. Like it has the utilization, but it's got high utilization, I think, because of the low clocks. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure 50% at, like, let's say 800 megahertz wouldn't be the same if it was at, like, 2 gigahertz. I don't think it would be using 52% of it at the same settings. Could be wrong on that, but that's how I've always understood that. But regardless of that, it wasn't clocking the GPU up, neither on the Steam Deck or on this while we were outside. And I think that might have been half of the reason it was getting such bad FPS. as you saw when we were indoors at the very beginning before I started the very long cutscene where they were just talking for a while. I never should have done that. Should have started afterwards. But I did notice I was getting like 140 or something FPS on low indoors. And then on high, we were still getting like 100, anywhere from 80 to 100. Totally playable indoors. Outside? Hell no. Terrible. But anyway, now let's go see how it does at 1440p. But that's for another video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though the laptop didn't do so good. I don't think it's the laptop's fault. I think it's the game. But anyway, till the next game, play video. Peace out, guys.